Hey everyone. So jumping right into this chapter, it focuses on on the confrontation between Taro and Amane over control of the Master Keys. And it's here where we also learn Amane's motivations for joining Uzaki, which is, contrary to my belief, there is no love lost between father and son, as apparently, at least according to how Amane tells it, Yotsumura had killed his own wife. Now, obviously, I'm reserving judgment entirely on that one until we learn the full story, because this is very obviously a case of what Amane saw or what he was told. Obviously wasn't the full picture, but just the way he lashes out, you can tell losing his mother, really left an emotional scar on Amane. Like he is so disillusioned and so disconnected from basically how he views the rest of the world now, that to him the only other option left is to tear it all down, to destroy it all. The JCC, the JAA, all of it has to go, and even to the point where even his own fault, even he is willing, even yeah, and even to the point of, yes, even if it means, even ironically, it's kind of an ironic sense of the word, considering how, even though he hates his own father and wants to kill him, the JAA are also are also after him. So it's like even though he hates his own father for what happened, he almost blames the JAA by proxy as well. So the JCC by proxy as well. So it's like, yeah, for him it's like, just tear it all down. I'll kill my father, destroy the JCC, destroy the JAA. It all needs to go, kind of thing. You can almost do kind of sympathize with him in that regard, since it almost. And now I think through it all, though, my question is why Amane needs the Master Keys to fulfill his mission of finding the database, though. Because I'm not going to lie, a lot of this chapter felt like one giant misdirection. Like, Amane clearly wants the keys, thinking it'll unlock some room where he thinks the database is located. But as this whole arc is made clear, if it were actually that easy, then someone would have found it already. And the Master Keys feels very much like a misdirection on Suzuki's part to continue to feed into the notion the characters have that the database is a physical thing, like a huge database. But for us as the readers, it feels more and more it feeds more and more into the idea that the database is in fact like either a person, or at best it's like a small little hard drive thing. Like the part that, like, it's definitely at best it's definitely something on a smaller scale than what we think it is. And the part that kind of gets me, though, is more and more there's a sense that Amane is just as much in the dark about the database than everyone else. So the JA, GCC have really locked this secret down to the point where the person I thought would actually have the most knowledge about the database doesn't actually seem to know anything. And honestly, I feel like more than anything, this chapter is starting to push Amane into that classic moral direction where he's going to have to decide between his ambitions and his moral compass. Like, however much Amane has fallen into this pit of despair of feeling like the only course left is to destroy. I get the feeling that when we do learn who the database really is, it's going to push him in that moral direction of okay, can I really afford to, in order to let this person, into let this happening at all, whether it's a person getting killed or just someone taking away the information. And in saying that, though, we do also get an official connection between Yotsumura and Taro, with the latter basically trying to tell Amane that whatever he thinks he knows about his father is likely not the full story, which for me begs the question, does Taro not know what happened? Because the way he was speaking makes it sound like he still thinks Yotsumura is a member of the organization, or at best he probably doesn't know anything in regards to the mission that put him on the most wanted list. But it's the question of what Taro does know about the man himself that that has me the most curious, because it's planting those seeds that, however close he was to the guy, there are things there are things with Yotsumura that I think even Taro doesn't know, and even more so, if we take Shishiba and Nagamo's words at face value about one of the reasons of him being wanted is that he failed a mission, then how much you want to bet the mission in question he failed is also what got his wife killed. Like, it's almost too perfect a setup to be the case, and it would provide the perfect reason for Amane to hate both the JA and his own father as much as he does. Like, the only question I think that comes from this possibility is how Amane's mother got mixed up in all that mess to begin with. Like, that's I think the biggest question mark on all this is, like, with the notion that Yotsumura killed his own wife. What was the reason for that to even happen to begin with? Like, there's a question of the how and the why now with Amane's mother that's kind of with Yotsumura's. There's a question of the how and why now that still kind of needs answering, and kind of. And circling back, I guess, to how this relates to Taro, I think if Taro were to learn the full truth about what happened with Yotsumura, it might push him over the edge to where, well, I don't think he's ever going to directly do anything like attacking the JA outright, unless he's given like a genuine reason to. I do think this will. I think what will happen if Taro were to ever learn the truth about what happened with Yotsumura is he will grow even more antagonistic, like towards the JA. Like, it's like up to this point, how Taro has felt about the JA, about the JC, is he's always kept them at arm's length. He's never really gone as far as he has in terms of actively declaring any war on them or anything like that, or trying to attack anyone associated with the JA outright. It's just all been kind of all been a thing of circumstance with a lot of the JA and whatnot. But I feel if he ever knew what happened with Yotsumura and what the true reasoning behind all this is, I think that it will cause Taro to rethink his stance on how he views the organization, and how, even though he won't ever attack them directly, he may be willing in order to get more confrontational with them, I think. And it would be interesting to see if a lot of Taro's relationship with Yotsumura is also what kind of influenced his own reasoning behind wanting to retire and start his life anew as well. That would kind of be interesting if that was also another reason for it. With that said, this chapter also reinforced the idea that, yeah, Taro is running out of time, and I wouldn't be surprised if he loses his cover soon, but sooner than we think. Like, it's gonna happen like before this arc even ends, for sure. And I do gotta admit, as well, one of the funniest moments of this chapter was definitely seeing Taro and Amane fight. Like, it's one of those things where we're seeing the fight in the fight in the background while having that pretty much lecture going on in the foreground. It's just one of those like duopoly things that just made it extra hilarious, of like all this happening in the background, all this happening in the foreground while the fight was happening in the background. And I wouldn't be surprised if the lecture itself is also a subtle bit of narration to show the reader all the ways in which Amane hates the JA without him actually having to say it outright. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Blue Sky, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to click the subscribe button and just the run, guys. Dark Knight, signing off. Later, everyone.